Ever feel like you're walking on eggshells around someone? Like never quite sure what's going to set them off?
Right.
Constantly second-guessing yourself, feeling manipulated, or just plain exhausted.
Yeah.
You might be dealing with a narcissist.
Yeah.
And today, we are going deep into understanding how these relationships work.
Okay.
And more importantly, how you can take back your power.
Yeah.
We're diving into a Mel Robbins podcast interview with Rebecca Zung.
Okay.
She is a trial lawyer who has made a career out of negotiating with narcissists.
Interesting.
And what she reveals is that it's less about battling a villain and more about understanding the why behind their actions. And the why is really fascinating.
Okay.
So tell me about this whole concept of arrested development.
Well,
I mean, I've heard that term before, but how does it actually relate to narcissism?
Well, so imagine the emotional part of their brain, like the limbic system,
Yeah.
stuck at the age of a child.
Okay.
While their logical side, the prefrontal cortex, is fully mature. So it creates this bizarre mismatch where an adult might react
Yeah.
with the intensity of a kid throwing a tantrum.
Okay, so hold on.
Yeah,
You're saying their brains are literally wired differently.
it seems that way.
So it's not just them being manipulative jerks.
Not necessarily. Think about a child's emotions. They're raw, immediate.
Right.
They haven't developed the tools to regulate those feelings.
Right.
Now, picture an adult in a stressful situation,
Yeah.
but their emotional response is stuck at that childlike level.
Oh, that actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It explains why they can be so unpredictable.
Right.
Going from like charming to furious in a snap.
Exactly.
So is there no reasoning?
Well, so this ties into another key concept Rebecca Zung highlights.
Okay.
Splitting. It's this black and white thinking where everything is either good or bad with no shades of gray.
So there's no middle ground.
You're either with them or against them.
Oh, okay. So that's rough.
And the splitting makes them hypersensitive to any perceived criticism.
Right.
Which leads to what's called narcissistic injury.
Narcissistic injury.
Yeah, it's this intense emotional wound that triggers their fight or flight response,
Oh, wow.
leading to outbursts they might not even fully remember later.
Wait, they don't remember.
It's called blindness, and it's not them faking it.
Oh, wow.
Their emotional overwhelm literally blocks their logical brain from
Yeah.
processing what happened.
Right.
They're so consumed by those hurt feelings that they might genuinely not recall saying
Wow.
or doing hurtful things.
Okay, that changes things a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, how do we even begin to deal with someone who's operating on this totally different emotional wavelength?
That's where narcissistic supply comes in.
Narcissistic supply.
It's fuel that keeps their ego inflated.
So, like a constant need for validation.
Validation, attention, admiration.
Okay.
But here's the kicker.
What's that?
They also get a twisted sense of satisfaction from putting others down.
Oh, so it's not just about being adored.
Right.
There's something else going on.
There are actually 2 levels of this supply.
Oh, 2 levels. Okay.
The first is like diamond level stuff.
Okay.
Status, money, possessions.
Okay, yeah. Those make sense.
Anything that makes them look good in the eyes of others.
Okay. That's pretty standard for anyone seeking validation, I feel like, right?
Sure.
What's this other level? You mentioned coal earlier.
Coal level supply comes from degrading and controlling others. It's the gossip, the manipulation, the constant need to feel superior by diminishing those around them.
That's pretty messed up.
Yeah.
Do you have any example of this from the podcast?
Rebecca Zung shared a story about a narcissist who started smearing his wife's reputation
Oh, geez.
months before their divorce.
Wow.
It was all calculated to gain an advantage, to paint himself as the victim.
Oh, wow. That's intense.
It's like they're playing this long game of emotional chess.
That really highlights how this splitting we talked about plays out in real life. It's either you're the perfect partner feeding their ego or you're the enemy.
Right, the target of their negativity.
Okay, and then there's this other thing called triangulation.
Yes, they'll gossip and badmouth others to bond with you,
Really?
creating this artificial sense of intimacy built on negativity.
Wow.
It's all about pulling people into their drama and manipulating them to take sides.
So what do we do?
Well,
How do we protect ourselves in these situations?
the first step is understanding these patterns,
Okay.
recognizing that you're not alone,
Right.
and you're not crazy for feeling confused or hurt.
Yeah, that's huge.
And that's where Rebecca Zung's S.L.A.Y framework comes in,
Okay, the S.L.A.Y framework.
a powerful tool for navigating any interaction with a narcissist.
Okay, I am so ready to hear about this S.L.A.Y framework. Let's break it down.
Before we do that,
Okay.
it's important to remember that this is about empowerment,
Okay,
not changing the narcissist.
got it.
The S.L.A.Y framework is your toolkit for setting boundaries,
Okay.
communicating effectively, and ultimately taking back control.
Okay, walk me through it.
The S stands for strategy.
Strategy, okay.
Before you even think about engaging with a narcissist, you need a clear vision of what you want to achieve.
So like setting goals for ourselves in these interactions.
Exactly. Instead of just wanting peace with a narcissistic parent, for example,
Okay.
you might visualize specific boundaries and interactions that would make the relationship more tolerable.
Okay, so we have a strategy, a goal in mind.
Right.
What's next?
The L stands for leverage.
Okay,
This is about understanding what the narcissist values most, their supply.
Okay, so we're figuring out what makes them tick, what they crave,
Yeah.
and then using that to our advantage.
It's not about being manipulative.
Okay.
It's about recognizing their motivations and finding ways to get your needs met without feeding into their negative patterns.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this works.
Okay.
So we've got our strategy, we've identified their leverage points.
Right.
What's the A about?
The A stands for anticipate.
Anticipate. Okay.
This is where you put on your detective hat.
Okay.
And really understand the specific type of narcissist you're dealing with.
Hold on, different types. There's more than one kind of narcissist.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Rebecca Zung talks about grandiose, covert, and malignant narcissists,
Oh, wow.
each with their own unique tactics.
Okay.
For instance, a covert narcissist might use flying monkeys,
Flying monkeys.
other people they manipulate to do their bidding.
Oh, wow. That sounds like a whole other level of crazy.
It can be.
So once you understand their playbook,
Yeah.
you can anticipate their moves and avoid getting caught in their traps.
Exactly.
So it's all about being one step ahead.
And a big part of anticipation is recognizing their baiting tactics.
Mm-hmm.
They're masters at pushing your buttons to provoke a reaction which feeds their need for that coal-level supply.
Okay, strategy, leverage, anticipates.
Yeah.
What's the final piece of this framework?
The Y stands for you.
Yeah.
And this is where the real power shift happens.
Okay, so we figured out their game, but now it's about getting ourselves back in the driver's seat.
Exactly. Remember, you were chosen by this person because you have value.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be bothering with you if you didn't.
I never thought of it that way.
The key is to stop letting them dictate your worth and start standing in your authentic power.
Okay.
You can't control their behavior,
Right.
but you can control your reactions and choices.
This is giving me a whole new level of confidence already.
Good.
It's like taking back the reins of my own life.
Precisely. The why is about remembering that you can win in these situations.
Yeah.
But you must believe it's possible.
Okay. I'm starting to believe it already, so we've got this framework down.
Yeah.
But how do we put it into practice? What does it actually look like to use this S.L.A.Y method in those heated moments with a narcissist?
That's where the real magic happens, and that's what we'll dive into next.
All right, so we've got the S.L.A.Y framework down. Strategy, leverage, anticipate, but let's get real. How do we actually use this in the heat of the moment
Yeah.
when a narcissist is pushing our buttons?
Well, one of the most powerful tactics that Rebecca Zung recommends is called gray rocking.
Gray rocking. Okay.
Yeah, think of yourself as becoming as interesting and responsive as a gray rock.
So we're basically giving them nothing.
Exactly. No emotional reactions.
Okay.
No defensiveness. No arguing.
Okay.
Keep your responses short,
Okay.
neutral, and factual.
Well,
It's like depriving them of the oxygen they need to fuel their drama.
okay, that makes sense, but I have to admit,
Yeah.
for someone like me who's naturally empathetic, it sounds incredibly difficult.
It definitely takes practice, and it might feel counterintuitive at first. But
Yeah.
remember, you're not trying to change them
Right.
or win an argument.
Okay.
You're simply protecting your own energy and sanity.
That's a good point. I guess it's like choosing self-preservation
Exactly.
over engaging in a battle you can't win.
Right, and to make gray rocking even more effective,
Okay.
Rebecca Zung shared some phrases that can really throw a narcissist off balance.
Okay, give me the good stuff. What are these magic phrases?
One of my favorites is, I understand that's how you feel.
Okay.
It acknowledges their perspective without agreeing with them or getting sucked into their distorted reality.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's like validating their feelings
Right.
without validating the crazy things they might be saying.
Precisely. Another powerful phrase is, your approach isn't working for me.
Okay.
It sets a clear boundary without being confrontational.
I can see how that would be helpful.
Yeah.
It shifts the focus from arguing about right and wrong to simply stating what you will and will not tolerate.
Exactly. It's about taking back control of this situation and setting those boundaries.
Okay, so let's say we've tried these phrases, we're gray rockin' like pros.
Okay.
But the narcissist is still escalating, maybe even getting angry or aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
What do we do then?
That's when having an exit strategy is crucial.
Okay.
You have the right to remove yourself from any situation where you feel unsafe or emotionally overwhelmed.
But what if they try to guilt trip you or make you feel bad for leaving?
Don't fall for it, remember? Their tactics are all about manipulation.
Mm-hmm.
You can simply say something like, I'm happy to talk about this when you've calmed down.
Okay.
Or, I need a break from this conversation right now.
Okay.
And then just walk away.
That's so empowering.
It is.
I think a lot of people, myself included,
Yeah.
have been conditioned to put other people's needs before our own, especially in families.
Mm-hmm.
It can be hard to break free from that pattern.
It's a process. But remember, setting boundaries is not selfish.
Right.
It's about prioritizing your own well-being and mental health.
That's a good point.
You have the right to feel safe and respected, and you don't have to tolerate abusive behavior from anyone.
That's such an important message. So we've covered understanding their need for supply,
Right.
recognizing the cycle of these relationships, and using the S.L.A.Y framework to navigate those interactions. What else should our listeners keep in mind as they try to outsmart a narcissist?
Having a strong support system is crucial.
Okay, support system.
Surround yourself with people who understand what you're going through
Right.
and can offer a listening ear and validation. Don't be afraid to seek professional help from a therapist specializing in narcissistic abuse.
It's so isolating to feel like you're the only one who sees the narcissist's true colors.
Yeah.
So having that outside support can make a world of difference.
Absolutely. A therapist can help you process your experiences,
Okay.
develop healthy coping mechanisms, and validate that what you're going through is real.
As we wrap up this part of our deep dive,
Yeah.
what's the most important takeaway you want our listeners to remember?
You are not alone, and you are not crazy.
Right.
Narcissistic abuse is real,
Right.
and it can have a devastating impact on your mental and emotional health.
Right.
The good news is
Okay.
there are strategies you can use to protect yourself, reclaim your power, and create a happier and healthier life.
So even though dealing with a narcissist can feel like an uphill battle,
Yeah.
it's not a hopeless situation.
No.
With knowledge, self-awareness, and the right tools, you can not only survive,
Right.
but thrive. You know, it's funny because we talk about all this and you think about like, the narcissist in my life. But
Yeah.
then you start thinking like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
am I the narcissist
Oh,
in somebody else's life?
Absolutely.
Because we all have narcissistic tendencies.
We do, right?
To a degree.
We all fall somewhere on the spectrum.
So it's about that self-awareness.
Absolutely.
And it's so interesting because even in this conversation, I'm like, wait,
Yeah.
do I do that?
Yeah.
Where am I doing these things?
That's the first step.
And the documentation piece is so interesting.
Right.
I've never really thought about that before
It's a game changer.
because it's so easy to question your own sanity.
Yes. Especially if you're an empathetic person.
Right.
Or you're naturally conflict avoidant.
Exactly. And you start to,
You give them the benefit of the doubt a lot.
you gaslight yourself.
You gaslight yourself.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
But having that documentation, it's like, whoa, okay, wait a minute. No, this actually happened.
Here's the receipts.
Here are the receipts. This is real.
Right. And I think that's why for a lot of people,
Yeah.
especially in those early stages of awareness, it can be really helpful to talk to a therapist
Oh, for sure.
because they can help you
It validates.
to validate
things.
everything. It's like, oh, I'm not crazy.
Right.
It's not just me.
Exactly. And I think that's such an important message to leave our listeners with.
Yeah.
Like, it's not your fault
Right.
that you are not crazy.
And you're not alone.
You are not alone. And this is real. What you're going through is real.
And it's not your fault.
And it's not your fault. But
Yeah.
the good news
Yeah.
is that there are strategies you can use.
Yes. You have more power than you think.
More power than you think. And like we've been saying this whole time, knowledge is power. So the more you know, the more you can protect yourself.
Right.
And Rebecca Zung's work has been so valuable for this episode.
Fantastic.
Yeah, she has some amazing books and a YouTube channel that we'll be sure to link in the show notes for everyone.
And even if you don't think you're in a relationship with a narcissist,
Right.
it's still valuable information.
Still valuable just to be aware of those tendencies
Because we all have them.
that we all have. And that's the self-awareness piece that we've been talking about.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this episode of The Deep Dive.
Okay.
Thank you all so much for joining us on this journey into the world of narcissism.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time, keep learning, keep growing,
Yeah.
and keep diving deeper into the things that matter most.